What is internet anyway? What do you mean? That's big. How does one? What do you write to it like mail?
No, a lot of people use it and communicate. I guess they can communicate with NBC writers and producers. Allison, can you explain what internet is?
No, she can't say anything in 10 seconds or less.
Allison will be in the studio shortly.
What does
it mean?
It's a giant computer network made up of started from.
Oh, I thought you were going to tell us what this was.
It's like a computer billboard.
It's not in it. It's a computer billboard, but it's nationwide, and it's several universities and everything all joined together.
Right.
And others can access it.
Right.
And it's getting bigger and bigger all the time.
At the end of the 20th century, Silicon Valley industry titans like Steve Jobs and Bill Gates made a promise that would forever alter how we perceive the world.
It spans the globe like a superhighway. It is called Internet.
Suddenly you're part of a new mesh of people, programs, archives, ideas.
The personal computer and the Internet ushered humanity into the information age, laying the groundwork for unlimited innovation. At the dawn of the 21st century, there would be a new revolution. A new generation of young geniuses made a new promise beyond our wildest dreams.
The idea is that we take all the world's information and make it accessible and useful to everyone.
Limitless information, artificial intelligence, machines that would know what we wanted and would tend to our every need. The technology would be beyond our imaginations, almost like magic. Yet the concept would be as simple as a single word: search. This was the beginning of Google, and less than a decade later, Facebook. They would make a new promise to humanity. What I think so interesting about Google and Facebook is they were founded at American universities. At Stanford University, you had two students, Larry Page and Sergey Brin, decide they wanted to create the ultimate search engine for the internet.
Across the country, you had, in the case of Facebook, Mark Zuckerberg, who was a student at Harvard, decided he wanted to create a social media platform basically to meet girls and to make friends. And hence, we got Facebook.
You never think that you could build this company or anything like that, right? Because, we were college students, right? And we were just building stuff because we thought it was cool.
It was all about promise. It was all about this shiny future. It was all about the free flow of information. But there was also a certain idealism behind it.
I think that a company like Google, we have the potential to make very big differences, very big positive differences in the world. And I think we also have an obligation as a consequence of that.
Facebook and Google started with a great idea and great ideals. Unfortunately, there was also a very dark side.
The goal that we went into it with wasn't to make an online community, but sort of like a mirror for the real community that existed in real life.
The question precisely is, what's good and bad according to whose judgment? And that's especially relevant given that these systems serve a filtering purpose. They're denying or allowing us access to information before we see and think. So we don't even know what's going on behind the scenes. The people who are designing these systems are building a gigantic unconscious mind that will filter the world for us. And it's increasingly going to be tuned to our desires in a manner that will benefit the purposes of the people who are building the machines.
What these algorithms basically do is they create bubbles for ourselves, because the algorithm learns this is what Peter Schweitzer is interested in, and what does it give me when I go online? It gives me more of myself.
I mean, it's narrowing your vision. It's funneling my vision. It's leading me to a view of the world. And it may not be Facebook's view of the world, but it's the view of the world that will make Facebook the most money. They're attempting to addict us, and they're addicting us on the basis of data.
The problem with that is that you only see what you already know. And that's not a good thing, because you also need to see what you don't know, because otherwise you can't learn.
Facebook this morning is defending itself against accusations of political bias. An article posted Monday on the tech news site Gizmodo said Facebook workers suppressed conservative-leaning news stories in its trending section.
And it creates a terrible dynamic when it comes to the consumption of information and news, because it leads us to only see the world in a very, very small and narrow way. It makes us easier to control and easier to be manipulated.